Hi ladies, today I want to show you this bracelet I made, and I'm planning on making a whole suite to match, but this happens to be called, I think I'm going to call it Flower Garden, the Flower Garden series or collection or something when it's done. But this is the bracelet, and now this one is made where the hook and eye clasp is underneath the flower, and I think I'm going to make one in burgundy just like it with you, but I think I'm going to put the clasp in the back. I mean, I love it like this, but I don't have any hook and eye clasps, and I made those myself out of wire um, and spring rings, but I think I'm going to use a box clasp for this one. So, and I don't have it out, but you'll need a clasp if you're going to use a clasp. Alright, and we're also going to need some kind of a round. Mine's a little bit flat, a little bit puffy. It's a check glass bead. Same kind here, but it's a different color. I got some 3mm check fire polish. Need a few of those. Need some 6mm pearls. I got burgundy. You need some little 2x3mm rondelles. And a lot of 11O seed beads. Also, I used the little 1x2mm Chinese crystal rondelles that we got in the dollar bead box, but I don't have the right color for the burgundy one, so I'm going to probably grab some amethyst 11O seed beads to go around the edges. Alright, alright, so we're going to need a size 10 to 12 beading needle, whichever you choose, and I've got some 6-pound fire line in crystal. Alright, grab your materials and come right back. Alright, let's get this ball rolling. So let's pick up our rounds, center bead, and let's see, first of all, let's put on a stop bead. Not for long, but just for the first or second step. And leave about a 6-inch tail, just enough to sew in. Okay, so I got my stop bead. Well, yeah, just enough to sew in. We'll probably end up taking this off because I think I'm going to knot it. So go up through the round bead. Okay, pick up I think six of your 6mm pearls. I didn't even take a picture as I went. I think I've got it by memory. It's not a real complicated piece. Let's see, there's 4. And 2 more. Let me see. We want them to lay close, so you might have to move your stop bead down. Let's take one of those off. We might have to add it, but we'll add it after we get the sides on. We may not. and I don't want this to be too big. So take one off and then go up the bottom. Of your bead. Yes, we'll probably have to end up adding at least one after we get these sides on. Alright, and pick up 5 more. Bring those down. And go up the bottom again, making sure to miss that stop bead. I used the same bead for the stop bead because I thought I was going to take it right back off. I still may once I get down there. Alright, now these beads, no, I don't think we have to add any. I think we just need to go through and go all the way around, reinforcing the circle. So start at the top, go through, all the beads on all around the circle. Okay. Now I'm going to go one more, at least, yeah, one more time. And when we get down to the bottom, we're going to tie a knot with the tail. And we can take that stop bead off. And pull the stop bead off. Alright, that bead is going to flip-flop around until we flip it around. And I'm going to put a row of seed beads across the back. Okay, so I mean, it's not optimal, but it works, and it's on the back. You cannot see it, and it's no big deal. So when you get into the third bead up, let's pick up, let me see, ten 11-0 seed beads. Bring them down. String them across, and make sure let's say on the third bead on this side, you go down through the third bead, but you're going to go in the opposite direction, or the same direction, actually. So where they're both coming out the bottom of that I'm pushing up on that bead right now. Let's see. There we go. I'd rather the bead come forward somewhat than I would it go backwards. Alright, and then let me find my beading needle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to square stitch. And so we're going to pick up 3 11-ohs. We're coming out of this side of this 6-0. We're going to go chase a thread, go through the opposite side of that 6mm purl, and come down. Okay, make sure to flip the seed beads, and then go up through all 3 of those seed beads. Now once we get these seed beads on and pull tight, this bead won't move around. Pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads, go to the next purl, go down through 2 go down through that pearl and the one behind it that we just did. So we're going down these two pearls. Pull, and then we're going back up through all 6 seed beads. If you can get them all at once, great, but if you have to do a few at a time, go for it, because it's kind of hard to get all 6 of them. And pull them tight. Okay, pick up 3 more seed beads. And then the next pearl, go down through that pearl and the one behind it, the one we just did, and pull and go back up through 6 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If that tail thread bothers you, you can sew it in anytime. I just hold it out of the way. Alright, pick up 3 more seed beads. Go down through the next pearl. See, we're working up this way. So we just did this pearl. So we're going to go up and down through the next pearl. And the last pearl, the one we just did. And then back up this way through the last 6 seed beads. Sometimes you gotta work with them. Right. Now, finish doing that all the way around. And then reinforce by going through all the 11 seed beads again. And come back. We'll do the next step. Okay. Now, make sure you hold your tail string all the way. And you just went around and reinforce your 11 O's. And make sure you go completely around the circle and a little past. That way it cinches it in real tight. You notice your stone isn't moving now, right? And so all we're going to do is just jump right back, right, make sure it comes straight over though, and either go through this pearl or this pearl. So I'm going to come back through this pearl. Now this is where you might bend your needle a little bit getting through these pearls. So make sure you got one that'll bend and don't break. That way you can just straighten it back out and use it again. So all we're going to do is pick up your 3mm. Now these might not sit perfectly in between your beads. They might look a little cockeyed. It might drive you crazy for a minute, but it's not going to be for long, because when we go back through and add to them, it's going to straighten them right out. But I do know the feeling, because it drives me insane as well. Just make sure that it's in there, that it's in there and kind of snugly. So pick up another. And then just go through the next. And that's all we're going to do on this row, is put a 3mm in between each of these pearls, like that. And just go all the way around. We'll do one more. Pick up a 3mm. And go through the next pearl. They're in there so tight that you might struggle a little bit, but you can get them in there. So to work with it and bend your needle up a little bit. Sometimes, you might have to straighten up your 3mm a little bit. Make sure they're pulled snug. Your thread's pulled snugly, but not too snug. You don't want to break it. And they are going to be a little bit wonky. It's okay. They will straighten up when we get the next row on. See, I don't know if you can see in there, but they straighten right up. They're in between these points. Alright, so go around, put a 3mm in between each of your pearls, come back, and I'll show you the next row. Okay, we have that done. Now you're coming out of a pearl, and so what you need to do is just jump right up into that 3mm. That's called stepping up, and then we'll be ready for the next row. So you're coming out of 3mm, pick up 4 11/0 seed beads. If I can get one. Have you guys had to straighten your needle? I did. Alright, and then so we're coming out of that 3mm, just go into the next 3mm. So all we're doing in this round is just putting 4 11/0 seed beads in between each 3mm fire polish, or whatever 3mm you're using. 4 11/0 seed beads. And they'll be floppy and they won't look right, but we're going to go back through and put one. The next round will be putting one in between, in the middle of these 4, all the way around, to bring them up to a point. I think it's easier than doing it, than putting on 5 and then going around and skipping the middle one and going through. It's just easier to put 4 on and then go back through and put 1 in the center. So I'm just adding 4 seed beads. And like I said, they'll be wonky, but they'll straighten up. And they'll become a point. Just like these 3mm will straighten out. Pick up 4 11/0. Go through that next 3mm fire polish. Make sure thread don't get caught. Alright, then meet me back here. Continue going around, putting 4 11/0 in between each 3mm fire polish. And meet me back here, and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so we've got 4 seed beads in between each 3mm fire polish. And my needle. Okay, let me get my needle. I did have it up through. Then, okay, we're coming out of 3mm, so just go up through the next 2 seed beads. And one of the, if you're coming out of a 3mm, go directly into the next 2 seed beads. Now I put 5 on that one, so it's already got 5. So I'll skip that middle. Just 1 minute. I'm sorry about that. Now we're just going to add, let me go through the 3mm and 2 seed beads. Okay, now we're just going to pick up 1 seed bead and go down through the next 2 seed beads and the next 3mm and pull, and that should pull that into a point. See that point? Alright, and so go up through the next 2 seed beads, pick up that 11/0 seed bead, and go down through the next 2 seed beads and the 3mm if you can get it. If not, you just have to do it separately. Go down the next 2 seed beads and pull, and that'll pull that into a point. Okay, and so do that all the way around, just going through, putting 1 seed bead in between the 4 seed beads. I'll do one more with you. Go up through that 3mm and 2 seed beads, pick up an 11/0 and go down through the next 2 seed beads. And pull it down tight. Now these will, eventually they'll be going forward and back, and kind of wonky, but then when we put the pearl in between the 2 points, that'll pull them in line also. Everything, the latter step is pulling everything into line of the previous step, so don't worry about any of that. But go through and add your 1 seed bead in between each 2 seed beads, and I'll be back. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Alright, so we've got our star tips or points, our 11 seed bead in between our 4 seed beads. So we're going to work our way up to one of the points, the very tippy top of one of the points, and all we're going to do is pick up a 6mm pearl and jump over and go through the next point. Like that. And then pick up another. And go through the next point. And pick up another. And go through the next point. Like this. Just go all the way around. Meet me back here and we'll do the next step together. Okay, we have this. That looks pretty like that, doesn't it? But now we are going to, we're coming out of 11 seed bead. We're going to pick up 9 11 seed beads. And we're going to go over the pearl and through the tip of that 11 seed bead. Right? We're coming out of one point. We're going to go through the next point and add those, that halo or that petal around that pearl like that. So continue picking up 9 11's. Sorry, I can't find my glasses. You can't see. And slide them down, and then you're coming out of this point. Jump over to the next point and pull those 2 beads down around that pearl. Like that. Go around, adding all the way around your 9 seed beads, and come back, and then we will put on the band. Okay, so we've just put on our point, or our 911 seed beads, and so you work your way down. You're probably coming out of one of these seed beads right here. So I've come down this way, and I'm coming out the 3mm. I'm coming out that 3mm fire polish. Okay, so, or this 3mm fire polish. So I'm just going to jump right over into one of these. We're going to put the band on, and we're going to start by using 2 of these pearls. So it's kind of difficult with these pearls, but we won't have to work much with these pearls any longer. We will, as soon as we get this, yikes, let me see if going the other way will be any easier. No, not really. Okay. I even put on a new needle. I should have waited, because this is going to get bent up also. It'll go through, but it wants to come out the front. Okay. Right. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter which 2 pearls right yet until we get on the opposite side. So we're just going to be coming out of a pearl. And then we're going to pick up 4 11 seed beads. A 3mm fire polish, and 4 more 11 seed beads. Bring this down. And we'll come up, and this span is, we're just going to go across 2 pearls and come back down through. Come on. And it'd be nice to use the 2 pearls like I have here, that your strings, or your line of seed beads on the back's running across. That'll make it easy to make sure and know which other 2 pearls you're going to be using, or, you know, on the other side of the band. If I could just get through here. Here we go. And pull. And we need to reinforce, so go up through those beads we just put on. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. And then go back down through those same two pearls. Wow, that was a lot easier this time. And then go through two of the 11 O's we just put on. And pick up 3 11 O's. And then we're coming out of the second 11 O. So we're going to go right back on the opposite side of the 11 O that we're coming out. Just the one we're coming out, but the opposite side. And chasing your thread, go through and pull. We'll just put on a right angle weave unit onto that seed bead. Then go down through the two 11 O's and the one 3 millimeter and pull. And we're going to add another right angle weave unit on that 3 millimeter. 1, 2, 3 more seed beads. You're coming out this side the 3 millimeter, so just go through the opposite side, chasing your thread, and pull, and go through go through 3 11 O seed beads. And pick up 3 11 O seed beads. And we are going through the opposite side of the 11 O that we're coming out of, that our thread's coming out of. Go through the opposite side, chase your thread through that same bead, and pull down. And then go up through the side, or down through the side unit, or the side bead on that unit, and the top. So you're coming through the one on the very tip. That. Pick up 3 11 O seed beads. go through the opposite side of that bead we're coming out of, and pull, adding your unit, your crawl unit, or your raw unit. Excuse me. We're not doing cubic. All right. And then let me check on the other one real fast and see. All right. Yes, I thought so. And we're going to add seed beads in between this first units. So pick up 4 of your 11-O's. And go over to the next raw unit. Go through that end bead on your next unit. And pull it down. Alright. Pick up 4 more 11-O's and do the same thing. Go through. I got a 15-O mixed in. Go through the top bead of that next right angle weave unit. So you've got that. And then let's make our next unit. Pick up 3 11-O seed beads. You're coming out this side on the end of that unit. Go through the opposite side and pull and put on the last right angle weave unit of that row. Go down through the side bead of that unit and through the top bead of that unit. Now that's one row, that's another row I mean. Now we have to start off, and I always usually flip it over by adding the unit, the first unit of our next row. So we add 3 11-O seed beads, we come around and chase our thread through tip the top bead of that unit. Pull it down, and there's our first unit of the next row. Now we're going to start with, I think we're going to start actually this one with the rondelles. And actually, I think instead of the silver, we're going to use our second color 11-O seed bead. So pick up a 11-O seed bead of the second color, 2x3 rondelle, and another color 2 seed bead. And jump over into I messed this up. I forgot to make, oh grr, I forgot to make the middle unit, the middle right angle weave unit on our previous row before we made this, put these 4 on, so we'd have something to connect to on this next row. So I'm really sorry about that. Let's, I'm gonna have to take these off. Let's take off this last unit we did. We're gonna have to take off the last unit of the previous row. Well, I'll be right back once I get it. I got a knot. Let me get the knot undone, and then I'll be. Alright, I got my knot out and I finished taking the beads off. So we're back at our middle row. I'm so sorry. If you're not a beginner, you caught my mistake, I'm sure, and you didn't make the same one. But if you are a beginner, you probably didn't catch it, and you're following me, and it's good practice. You better get used to taking stuff apart because people you're going. Everyone makes mistakes a lot. And in beading, it's just part of beading. The process of beading is learning to take things apart and redoing it, which isn't as much fun as actually, you know, beading, moving forward. But all right, so we're back at the middle unit. We've got to add our unit on, so that way in the next row we'll have something to add to. So pick up 3 11 O's coming out of one side, go through the other side, the opposite side. And add your beads. Oh, that looks better. I should have known by looking at it. And then pick up 4 more seed beads and jump across and go through the top bead of next unit. Pick up 3 11O seed beads and you're coming out one side of that 11O, go through the opposite side and pull, and there's your last unit of that row. And you can see it looks like a crown, actually, a queen's crown. And then we're going to go up through the side bead of that unit and the top bead. And then we're going to begin our next row by picking up 3 11O seed beads and we're going to go through the opposite side of that seed bead. Now we're going to pick up color 2 of our 11O seed beads, 2x3 roundel, and color 2 11O. And we're just going to go straight across into that middle unit, top bead of that middle unit, and we're going to pull. Then we're going to make our unit. Don't want to forget that again. Pick up 3 seed beads. The color 1 seed beads. We are coming out of one side of that top bead of that unit. We're going to go through the opposite side and pull. I got stuck. I can feel it. Let me get my string untangled. Unstuck. Oh, it just got stuck again. Your thread will get wrapped around your units and stuff if you're not careful. Alright, now let's pick up color 2 seed bead, 2x3 rondelle, color 2 seed bead. So you got that. We're going to jump over into this next and final unit and pull. Now we need to add our right angle weave unit. So pick up 3 color 1 11-ohs. Go through the opposite side of that 11-oh that you're coming out of and pull. And that's our final unit of that row. So let's go down through the side bead on that unit. We're working our way to the top pinnacle of that right angle weave unit, and we're ready for our next row. Now, every other row is beads. Okay, or you know, the anything but the color 1 seed beads. So we're going to have a row of color 1 4 seed beads between each unit, and then we're going to have 1 row of rondelles. Then we're going to have color 1 seed beads, 4 seed beads between each unit, and then we're going to have pearl, a row of pearls. And then we're going to have color 1 seed beads. Then we're going to have another row of 6mm pearls. Then we're going to have another row of color 1 seed beads, and then we're going to have 1 row of the rondelles. So there's going to be 2 rows of the pearls and 1 row of the rondelles, with the row of 11-oh seed beads, the color 1 seed beads in between each and every row. That gives space to put the beads. Alright, so pick up 3 11-oh color 1 seed beads. And make your first unit by going through the opposite side of that seed bead that you're coming out of. And pick up 4 color 1 seed beads. And go through the next unit. Pick up 3 11-oh seed beads. Go through the opposite side, the bead you're coming out of. And add your next unit. And pick up 4 11-ohs, color 1 11-ohs. And go through that next unit. and pick up 3 11s, color 1, go through the opposite side of the bead that you're coming out of, and pull. And that's the end of that row. Come down the side bead of that unit and the top bead. Alright, now let's start the next row, and the next row is going to be a pearl in between each unit, just one 6mm pearl. So pick up 1, 2, 3, color 1 seed beads, go on the opposite side of that bead you're coming out of, and pull. Pick up a 6mm pearl, pick up 3 11 seed beads, color 1s, go through the other side of that bead, chasing your thread, pull, pick up a 6mm pearl, go through the next unit, and pick up 3 11 color 1, and go through the opposite side of the bead that you're coming out of, and pull. That's the end of that row. So go down through the side bead of that unit, and the top bead, and then let's add our first unit of the next row. 1, 2, 3, 11 color 1, go through the opposite side of that bead you're coming out of. This row is going to be nothing but color 1 seed beads, so pick up 4 more, go into the middle unit, pick up 3, no, yeah, 3, go through the opposite side of that bead you're coming out of, and then pick up 4 seed beads, jump into that next unit, the last one, oh, my needle just came off, pick up 3 seed beads, and go through the opposite side of that bead. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah. This is right. See what I get when I second guess myself? Alright, and pull. And come up that side bead of that unit. and the top bead. Now we're ready for the pearls again. After we put on this beginning unit, 1, 2, 3 more seed beads, go through that opposite side of that bead, pull, pick up a 6mm pearl, go through that middle unit, pick up 3 seed beads, go through the opposite side of that bead and pull, pick up a 6mm pearl again, go through that next unit, next and final unit of that row, pick up 3 seed beads, go through the opposite side of that bead you're coming out of, and pull. Now go down the side bead of that unit, and the top bead, and you're going to follow this pattern by starting all over with first the color 1 seed beads, next the 2x3 rondelles, then the color 1 seed beads, then the pearls, then the color 1 seed beads, then the pearls, and you're going to start all over by putting a row of just the color 1 seed beads, and then the rondelles, and just keep going, keep going. Okay, like I said, I am going to use a clasp. I'm using a slide closure, and so that don't take up much room at all. I've got it measured to where I need to make about 3.5 inches on this side, and then I got to make about 3.5 inches on this side. And that'll make, let me see, let me measure it again just to be sure. Because I've got a exactly 7-inch wrist. Of course, the bracelet's going to need about a 1/2 inch for movement. But so this is about 7 inches exactly, and then, you know, what little bit of room, about 1/2 inch up here. So about 3.5 inches on each side. Is what I figure. And, you know, if you want to make sure, just put it on your wrist and make sure it's going to fit by the time you put your clasp. Alright? Alright. And after we do this side, go back and start just like you can rewind if you need to. Go back and start this side just like we did this side we just did. Alright? And then actually, when you get done with this side, come back and we'll put 1/2 the clasp on together, just to make sure you know how to do that. Alright, have fun. Okay, here we are. and I put on my last row, but I did not put my units on. I just came across, and I ended it with two instead of the one, just one row of the rondelles and then back to the pearls. Since it's the end, I went ahead and did another row of rondelles instead of having the big bulky pearls on the end. And I'm wondering if I should have put my end units on for this clasp, because see how they're right in the center over a little bit. Um, so I might not need it for the center, but I think I will add a unit on this, on the ends. So I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads, and I'm going to go to the opposite, same bead, the thread's coming out, but the opposite side. I'm going to go through, chasing my thread, and I'm going to go ahead and come up this side bead, and I'm going to go through this top bead, and I am going to go through one of my loops of my clasp, and then I'm going to go through the opposite side of my bead that I came out of, and I'm going to reinforce by going up through this loop again. Let's see if I can bring it closer to you. So I came back up through the loop. I'm going to go back through the opposite side of that bead that I was coming out of to begin with. And I'm going to go once more up through that loop and back through that seed bead. If I get caught, I'm going to make sure to pull the thread down. Then I'm going to go down through this side loop, or side bead, then I'm going to go through the bottom bead of that unit, and then I'm going to go through the color 2 seed bead, the rondelle, the color 2 seed bead, and the color 1 seed bead. Well, I'll have to do it in 2 steps there. Go through that seed bead. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a unit on the middle also. So pick up 3 seed beads, go through the opposite side, the same bead you're coming out, pull, go up through that side, bead on that unit, and then the top bead. Then I'm going to come up through that middle loop and through the opposite side of the bead. Same bead we're coming out. And then back up through that loop on the clasp. Go back through the opposite side, that bead that I'm coming out of. And I'm going to come back up through that loop on the clasp and go back through the opposite side, that bead. And then I'm going to come down through the side, the unit. And I'm going to go through the bead in the bottom of the unit and make my way over to the last unit on that row. I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads. And I'm going to go through the same bead but the opposite side. I'm going to go up through the side bead on that unit. I'm going to go through the top bead of that unit, and then I'm going to come up through that loop of the clasp and go through the opposite side, the bead I'm coming out, or came out. Now that will, it will cinch the end together somewhat, but that's okay. I'm going to come up through that loop on the clasp again and go back through the opposite side. And I'm going to come up through that loop again on the clasp and go if I can, hold on. Go through the opposite side of that bead. And then I'm going to make my way down that side bead of that unit. I'm going to go to the bottom bead of that unit. And I'm going to go under the thread bridge. Now we're going to tie some half-hitch knots. I'm going to go through the loop, and then I'm going to go through the next 11 seed bead. I'm going to go underneath that thread bridge, pull, make a loop there, go through that loop and pull down, and go down through that next bead, Okay. Then I'm going to go down through that bottom bead of that unit. Work yourself back up here. And we're going to go down through and start adding our color 2 seed beads in between the beads on the side. So work your way back up to this very first 11-0 in this unit, and come back and I'll put a few of the side beads on, make sure you know what we're doing there. Alright, we're coming out the very first bead, so you pick up a color 2 11-0 seed bead, and you're going to just jump over to that next top bead of the next unit. It might be a little tight where we tied these half hitches right here in the beginning, and you just place in that little 11-0 seed bead in between the top beads of these units. Pick up a color 2 seed bead and go through your next top bead of your next unit. Pick up color 2 and go through that top bead of the next unit. Pick up color 2 and go through that top bead of your next unit. And see, it puts a nice edge. Let's see if it'll focus. Focus. Anyway, it puts a nice edging on and makes the edge a little straighter. But a little contrasting color makes it pretty. So go through all along the sides, down this side, and you can cross over one of the straight sides and up. And then all you have to do is the same exact thing on the next side. And come back and we'll look at our bracelets. Okay, here we go. Here's our bracelets. I made 3 different colors, and in this pink one I used that beautiful coin pearl. I think it was a coin pearl that we got in the last month's box, this month's box actually, dollar bead box. And I don't know, I don't think my camera's picking it up, but it's got that beautiful iridescence on it. I also put, when I was adding these pearls, I put two 11-0 seed beads on either side, and that gave it a little bit more, covered the string, and it also gave it a little bit more depth. And then I used some little potato pearls. So I think the pink one is my favorite. But I hope you had fun, and I hope you make the flower garden bracelet. And I'm gonna be coming up with a couple more pieces to go with this series. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and like and share, but especially subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.